Good morning, everybody. I'm Tuckahoe Mayor Steve Eklund, and I'm happy to be here today right next to our DPW yard. We're in our Main Street Park, and today is Saturday, November 25th, right after Thanksgiving, and today is DPW Day in the village of Tuckahoe. So I'm going to introduce you to a couple of colleagues of mine. We're going to walk around and look at some of the equipment. We have here on my immediate right, Anthony DiNicola. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Very good. And we have Joey Tavalilla.
Morning, Steve.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about these two guys. Anthony, I know, has been here for about 26 years.
26 years.
Long time. And Joey's been here for 16 years. Joey's a longtime family here. You recognize the name Tavalilla. They've been here for many, many years. Anthony, what's your title? What do you do here?
My title is HMEO, Heavy Motor Equipment Operator. Basically, I carry a Class A license, and I run the heavy equipment, payloaders, backhoes, things like that. That's my title.
And the street sweeper, I know that's in that classification also.
Classification also, yes.
Okay, good. We're going to actually look at all these pieces of equipment. There's a lot of kids jumping on some of the equipment here, so we're going to take a full tour. And Joey, I like to say that Joey is the he's our lead mechanic, but he's really the guy who does everything around here. Do I have that right, Joey?
Yeah, just about.
So everyone should know that, you know what, Joey is, he can pretty much fix everything. So what people don't realize is when there is a blizzard or you know, a significant snow event, Joey pretty much is almost living here because he's down here as these trucks are out plowing the streets. I would say pretty much every shift there's something that breaks, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, there's always something that goes down. Yeah, we have multitude of equipment going on, doing various things at the same time, and there's always something that needs a little love.
A little love is right. You know, whether it's a tooth breaks off one of the arms on one of these big pieces of machinery, hydraulic lines I know are going.
Plow blades, you know, chains coming off the vehicles, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. There's always something going on.
And it's not just these big trucks and these big front end loaders and all that. We've got snow blowers, all the smaller pieces of equipment too.
All the sanders and the conveyor chains and the spinners and whatnot. There's a lot of different areas of operation happening all at the same time. So.
And that's talks about what we're doing when it's snowing, but this is leaf season, so we're picking up leaves with that big giant machine we're going to see over here. I have to believe that requires some maintenance too.
Yes, and there's a lot of seasonal setup because that truck doubles as a snow removal truck, so you have to constantly set up for the season. So you're setting up for snow, you're setting up for leaf collection, you're set up for watering, spraying calcium. We have multiple trucks that do multiple functions for multiple seasons.
Wow, that's an awful lot. And Anthony makes it happen. Anthony pushes them down the road. So so he keeps it going. You keep it actually on the street. So let's take a walk around. We're going to look at some of these pieces of equipment we have here. So the first vehicle we're going to look at is just a standard rack body truck, I guess, right? That's
The lift gate on the back. It has a lift gate on the back. We use this for collecting metal. Heavy pieces of recycling metal. If somebody throws out a stove, somebody throws out a refrigerator, it's easier for the guys to load this truck because of this lift gate, which I'll show you how it works.
okay. You're going to show us how that operates. Good.
Simple 2 buttons. Oh. Raise it up. This makes it easier for the guys to load it. Instead of them lifting it up, you know, by manually, they put it on here, and then it lifts up whatever it is, stove, refrigerator, heavy pieces of metal. This brings it up, and they push it on the back of the truck.
And that is on what day of the week do they do metal?
Thursday.
Yeah, but we also use it for TVs. Oh, I'm sorry. We also use it for TVs and other recycling matter.
Okay. So hot water heater, refrigerator, it's old, tired. People put it out at the curb, and what do? They normally call?
It's
No,
automatic.
we do it Thursday.
You're running around automatically.
Automatically.
Okay.
Thursdays and Tuesdays, right, afternoons.
So this truck is trolling the neighborhood. It sees a refrigerator out there,
Guys,
and then pull it over, pull down the lift
Pull
gate,
down the-
slide it on, and throw it in the back here.
A lot easier than lifting.
Yeah, that's for
It's
sure.
a
Well,
lot
it's
easier.
safer.
It's a
that's
lot
for
safer
sure.
too, right?
Yeah.
Nobody gets hurt this way.
Okay. That's an excellent piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. All right, this is interesting. So what do we have here?
This is a snowplow truck and a salter sander truck. This we use for parking lots, Main Street parking lot, Lake Avenue parking lot, back of Village Hall. This truck plows the snow into a pile, and then we can salt it real quick and efficiently. So we have a lot of parking lots, Lake Avenue, Fisher Avenue, Main Street, Underhill, like library, community center. 2 trucks we have like this. One does north end of the village, the other truck does the south end. And in between, we do some side streets, dead ends to help out the bigger trucks.
Okay. Because it's narrower, I guess it helps on a lot of the narrow streets.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, the parking lots, if there's cars in the parking lots, to maneuver with this is a lot easier than the big trucks, obviously.
And it has a spreader on the back.
Spreader on the back, which throws out salt. So we can actually plow the parking lot and then right away salt it, and then we're good for 4 or 5 hours, depending on how long it snows, or we're just, at the end of the day, we're done.
Okay.
And that's hydraulically operated. There's no motor on that. That's just under the power of the truck. You know, it's all hydraulic. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good-looking vehicle. That's for sure.
It's our newest dump truck.
Now, when it's not snow season, do you use the truck for a different purpose?
Yes, everything for recycling. We use it for masonry work. We use it for basically everything else. Picking leaves, picking up
Branches.
Yeah, but we also get stock for it. You know, when we need inventory and stuff like that.
Okay.
You know, we need dirt, you need gravel, you need sand, you need salt. You know, whatever you need, you can load up with this. It's a little more functional than using the big trucks, especially if you're doing a smaller job.
Right. Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, this next truck. Well, this you're really gonna have to look up to see this next the next vehicle. So this is a bucket truck, I would call it, or what do you call it? What do you guys call it?
Truck, bucket truck, aerial truck.
And tell us a little bit about how you're using this truck.
Mainly for tree removal, tree branches. They do lights in the village. They do traffic lights, street lights. You know, that kind of stuff.
And how many of these vehicles do we have in the village?
Just one.
Okay. All right. And it services the entire village. Does it break down often, or?
Everything breaks down as it gets older. It's a 2002, so yeah,
oh, okay.
it's probably seen its life expectancy, but it's still in very good shape, and we try to keep it going.
And changing light fixtures. Somebody has a lamp out on one of their.
There's a lot of LED changeovers that we take the old inefficient light and we spend a little bit of money to put a more efficient light in, but in over time it pays for itself in the energy we're using. So.
Well. You think maybe we can get you to go up in that bucket? What do you think? You ready for a ride?
Yeah, sure.
All right, okay. Maybe you can show us how it works, the controls, and.
Well, what I'll do is I gotta start it first.
Okay, we start the vehicle first.
If the key's still in it, it might not.
Now I see the outriggers are out. Started right up, so Joey's doing a good job keeping them tuned up. So the outriggers have to be down, I take it.
Both outriggers. Now, you can run it from inside the bucket. You can run the machine from inside the bucket or from below here. I'll show you how.
I don't know if he turned it. Usually it operates from up in the bucket. You want to come up there?
Now, Anthony, there's controls in the bucket as well as controls here. Is that because if the man in the bucket or a person in the bucket is unable to work it, you can lower that person?
In case we had a problem once, the control up there was not working.
Okay.
So he was basically stuck up there. So this overrides it.
Oh, all right.
So I'm able to, like I said, maneuver this.
You can move it from down here, but then on top of it, there's a separate motor that'll run to, like if he was really stuck, then the truck wouldn't run. Let's say this truck just stalled.
Oh, okay.
We could power up the hydraulics to bring him down from here. Yeah.
And
But
override safety.
you could also use it if somebody was up there and under the controls. He could operate it from here from her. But you can't do both. You can't have it both ways. Once I flip the lever, it can only go from the top.
Okay. How tall does this go?
About 65 feet.
Oh, wow.
It's a big one, yeah.
That's taller than I thought. Okay.
Most municipalities are using a lot smaller, you know,
Okay.
just to go up to the lights. But when you're going to do tree work and some other stuff, you need to get a little higher.
And that's a one-person bucket, I take
One
it?
person,
Okay.
yes. One person bucket.
And that person could have a chainsaw, maybe. I see there's like a little pail on the side there.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
to
for the
put tools
chainsaw.
or
That's a
something?
scab to put the chainsaw in.
Okay.
But we do have a tool bucket. You know, you don't want anything to fall.
Right. Yeah, that's
While
true.
they're up there, it's very dangerous. You need to be wearing hard hats and harnesses and everything else. You want to go in the bucket? Oh, I don't know about that.
No,
I don't think you want to do that.
I want to go inside there.
Oh, it spins too. It
Oh, yeah,
pivots.
there's all kinds of neat things.
Okay.
This equipment was actually bought the year I got this job. It was just purchased right before I got
Is
here.
that right?
So it was already ordered. Yeah. These are expensive.
Yeah. What does a
Under
vehicle
the-
like this go for with this whole setup?
Probably
Over $100,000?
150.
Is that right?
165.
$150,000, $165,000.
Depending upon the options, you know.
Okay.
We're usually holding on to it for a long time, so we want to
Well, it's good
get
that
an
you're
option the way we
maintaining
need to. Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. As the years go on, this needs OSHA boom inspection every year.
Oh, it does.
It gets tougher and tougher to get it every year. But,
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta spend a little money to keep it, but it's worth it. I mean, really, it should be on a regular replacement schedule, and it's a very expensive proposition for the
I
village. So.
shut the truck off. I'm able to turn on the truck or shut it off.
Oh, so he can shut. He was just saying he can turn the vehicle on and off from there. Wow, I didn't never realize that.
Well, we got the off part.
Not started.
There we
There
go.
we go. Oh boy.
He was just playing with you there,
So,
Joey.
nah.
There he goes.
Now I can just move that little red lever and leave him up there. No, I wouldn't do that.
No. You can't be afraid of heights if you're up in that.
No, that's for sure.
Will he bring it all the way up there, 65 feet high?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
If you want to do that, we're gonna get
Wow.
Silvio or
Yeah.
Danny will do that.
That's a good height for him.
Yeah.
It's more my
Wow.
We actually got a whole bunch of guys certified to.
To
do it, yeah.
use this? Okay. There he goes.
Oh, you want to see if you get it down low enough
Oh, that'll bring you all the way to the ground.
so you can see the operating.
Pivots.
pivots. This is the handle, how you operate.
Oh, all right. It's got like a hand control,
Hand
just like a
control.
pistol grip. Okay.
You pull up,
Okay.
I go up, push down, I go down. I can turn,
Wow.
all done by hand.
And I guess that's because if you're trimming a tree, you're not necessarily parking the truck directly in front of it. You need to spin this around.
To reach over, sometimes you can't get close. You have
Right.
to- different angles you have to get at. It all depends. Sometimes you have a branch that's hung up in the tree, and that can get tricky. You know, you don't want to be under it. You want to be to the side of it. There's all safety things involved with it too. Normally, I would have my helmet on. And if my boss sees me, he'll be very mad if
All right. Okay.
So
we'll cut you some slack.
cut me
It's a demo.
it's a demo.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Anthony.
Okay.
Know how you want to do that.
All right, let's walk over to this next piece of equipment. Boy, it looks like a tractor trailer truck, this thing, how long it is.
You need a Class A license to drive that. That's a Class A. We only have a handful of guys on the job that have them.
And Anthony
Anthony's one of them.
mentioned
That's the heavy equipment operator title.
So this is a dump truck, and this is our leaf. You call that a leaf box, right?
Right, and the combination weight is over 26,000 pounds. The combination of the two, you would need the Class A license to operate that. It's a very unique piece of equipment.
So Anthony, when you're out in the street, tell us how this works. I mean, I see the truck out in front of the house. You got a big vacuum cleaner here, is basically what it is.
Right, it is. It's a big vacuum cleaner. As people put their piles out in front of their houses along the curb, which they're allowed.
Oh, that's thick. That's very sturdy.
Yeah, it's heavy duty.
I thought it was a lot thinner than that.
No, it's heavy duty.
Basically, what we do is it's a big vacuum. That's all it is. We have one raker, one guy on this. We call it the hose, obviously, and it sucks up the leaves.
It's just putting them in that box.
Yes, it actually mulches them as it's going through. Yeah, it really breaks them up. So this box here holds a lot of leaves. I mean, it can hold a substantial amount of leaves. We can do 6-8 blocks.
Now, what do you do
17
when that's
yards,
full?
yeah. 17 yards capacity.
So when that's full, you come back here, or you come back to the yard.
No.
Oh, you don't. Okay.
Right up to the compost site.
Oh, all right.
Right off of California Road, behind the stables.
Okay.
We dump it right there, then we come back and we start all over.
So it like tilts back or
Right,
something,
right.
And then you just come right back
And
down.
inevitably, Eastchester's processing it, and we use it as dirt to fill in other projects we're doing here. I mean,
Okay.
over time, we break it down, and we're able to reuse that instead of buying fill. We have our own fill.
It's like a compost.
Now, I know that at our last village board meeting, DPW Commissioner Frank DeMarco, he came and he talked about, please put your piles out, but make sure you don't have, rocks and cinder blocks and construction debris. Is that a problem? Do you see that as a problem?
Sometimes, yes, there's things that are in the pile. Our biggest problem is usually branches, because the branches get stuck in the tube itself and clogs it.
Okay.
And then we have to free the clog. We shut the machine down, which wastes time. It's it's a lot. So that's why we try to have people separate branches from the leaf pile.
Okay.
Sometimes the landscapers put them in there, and that's our biggest problem.
But a brick or a rock will cause some havoc, and there's a big impeller in there.
Oh, I can imagine.
And,
Yeah.
and then we're into some costly dollars to repair that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
and
So
it
that
happens.
comes into the repair side of it. Okay.
Yep.
So this leaf box is being towed behind this dump truck here.
Yes.
And this is a heavy-duty dump truck. I can see that.
Multiple uses for this truck. We get sand and gravel with it again, a little bit on a heavier scale of a load, and we use it, snow removal. On the construction end of it, we use it to pull the leaf box. I mean, it's used in every season, and
Okay.
we only really have one of this in depth.
So we have one of these for the entire village.
Right, but we
Okay.
have 2 4-wheel drive ones that just use for plowing mainly,
plowing.
but it's a similar type of thing, but they're bigger, higher. It's not as
Right.
easy to do the type of work where the guys have to climb up on it and stuff
Okay.
like that.
How old is this truck? Do you know?
2010.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 7, 8 years old.
The leaf box looks kind of old. Is that old?
2006, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. It's funny. Where do you buy a leaf box? You don't go to Home Depot and buy a leaf box.
I
right?
find them. No, this is not. This is industrial made.
Okay.
This is special.
All right.
But like I said, all the equipment has a life expectancy, and you know, we try to make it last as long as we can. But you know, they're used every day.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we don't have a lot of equipment hanging around, just sitting around.
Right.
They're going out every day, you know, all day long.
and multi-purposes too,
And
by the
multi-purposes,
season, based
right.
on the season.
And a lot of seasonal setup is, you know, to get one of these ready to go and to get the plows on the trucks with the chains and the sanders and
Right.
make sure everything's working before the season starts.
And make sure the lights are all working back to the.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because when stuff happens, you know, you don't have time to,
Right.
you know, the truck needs to go out when it snows. It's a weird time of year now. It's, you know, 32, 35. You could have to go out. It could get some wet weather. It could be iced over, and the truck has to go out sand the roads. It has to be ready now. So
You may be picking up leaves tomorrow or plowing snow tomorrow.
we
so.
may be doing both.
Yeah, or yeah, that's true. Good point. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next piece. All right, well, looks like this is where the heavy duty stuff comes in. So,
See how this truck sits up higher? It's just a bigger series of a truck. It's
Right.
just stronger and a little tougher. So this is our plow truck, 4-wheel drive. You know, we usually have tire chains on it. It's off because I didn't want to damage the cord. But it's our main. This is for our north end of our village, and the one next to it is for the south end of the village, and they split up. Each one does half the village. So.
and that's something I wanted to talk about because I think a lot of people don't realize it. And I know that you mentioned today, people came here and they saw the plows, they saw the garbage truck, and they're like, all right, where are the other 10 plows and the other 12 garbage trucks? And that's not the case. There is 2 plows, there are 2 garbage trucks, because basically the village is split. It's really not split in half. It's sort of Main Street, isn't it?
It's kind of like down the center, like maybe by like Epstein's or
Okay.
Tuckahoe Pane and Glass, somewhere around there is a split. But you know, there's no saying that they don't.
No,
go
there's
over.
no. Of
Yeah, there's
course,
no
right.
defined line. We just call it the north end and
Right.
the south end.
Yep.
I mean, they know it. They do it over and over and over again. I mean, it's just.
Is the plowing route the same as the garbage pickup route, would you say? Or,
Yes.
no?
Yeah.
It
Yes,
is.
Basically,
okay.
it's the same.
I mean, they can
it's the
change
same
it
route.
up. There's streets. Some streets get a little more priority because they're main thoroughfares. But I think that they pretty much stick to a certain
Right.
route. Yeah.
North
Okay.
route, south route.
Now, I remember that years ago we had 2, they were called Oshkoshes, big giant snow plows, and they were from the 60s, I remember. So early on when I was on the board, we actually said, let's invest in these trucks. And I know I spoke to you, and we had the conversation, and I said, look, in New York City and other municipalities, you see they put plows on their garbage trucks. And you made a very good case, and we understood it, that when you actually take a garbage truck and you're using it as your snowplow, and a lot of people ask me that question, you really reduce the lifespan of that overall vehicle.
Of course, and of course, on top of it, you're talking about a 37-foot vehicle.
Right.
Now you put a plow on the front, you're talking another 5 feet to it. They're not going to get down the roads. It'd be one thing if you said you wanted to go up and down 22 like Eastchester does.
Right.
You're going nice and straight. That's great, but this is way
Yeah.
way congested.
And a lot of tight turns and
Turns,
yes.
yeah.
exactly.
These trucks
Yeah.
sometimes can't get by, and then they have to come with the smaller trucks to alleviate that. You know.
Well, I remember these trucks were like $165,000 or something. I think. Do I remember that
I
right?
think you're not too far. Maybe
Yeah.
150,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Now the new ones would be probably in the $198,000 to $200,000 range.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now tell us a little bit about. I know that they're all. You know, a lot of people don't realize too that there's a computer on board on this truck.
Sure.
So it's actually laying down salt and sand based on computer. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, of course you don't want to lay down too much salt because it's not good for the environment, and of course our stormwater's there and whatnot. But you want to adjust it so that way you're not overusing salt. We only have so much salt in the yard for the storm, so you want to be able to try to control what you're doing for the speed you're going. So when we slow down, it kind of throws less salt. When we speed up, it kind of throwing a little bit more. But the driver can control it. It's a digital console. We could open the door, we could show you, and he could actually control it to his needs and what he has to do. Because remember, he loads up that truck, he wants to try to do his whole route with that salt he has on him without coming back to the yard and refilling.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but it does conserve the salt use, because of course we don't want to just throw salt. We want to just throw enough to treat the storm. We don't want to waste extra salt because it's not cheap, and it's
Right.
and it's not good for the waterways. So we want to try to not throw too much of it. So
These plows are enormous. Do they break? I mean, can you tell us a little bit about some of the maintenance that you do on something like this?
We get a lot of wear on the plow blades, and we get a lot of sometimes the manholes hit it and they crack the plow blade. So in the middle of a storm, you'll have a replacement of a blade like that, even though it's new. Maybe it got hit, and now it's cracked, and now we have to replace it. Otherwise, it's not sweeping the roads clear. So that's mainly it. Of course, you got all these hydraulic hoses over here. You know, sometimes they get cut, sometimes they get banged. You know, another thing that happens is sometimes the plow bolts break just from impact of.
There's a lot of
pushing. There's
yeah.
a lot of pushing all in this area on the frame and whatnot, and you know, there's these tails that hold it to the frame, and a lot of these break sometimes. So there's a lot of that. Constantly, the drivers are checking when they stop, make sure that none of that broke. And
big hydraulic pistons, I guess, to maneuver
no, that's
these.
that's the piston for the impact that way. But these are the pistons down here for the turning left and right.
Okay.
So that's actually a big spring. Yeah, it's a big impact spring. So
Now, you need a hydraulic hose. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're in the middle of a blizzard. You break a hose. You keep an inventory of them. Do you make them here? I mean, how did? Whoa.
we used to keep some common ones in stock, but we just recently have outfitted ourselves with a hydraulic hose assembly maker type of thing, and I make them in house. So we can't make everything, but we can make a good, for the size of the shop we have, and we could go and check it out. We can make a good variety of these medium-sized hoses. When you get into larger stuff, you need a bigger facility to do that, and whatnot. But there's hoses on everything. There's hoses on the sanders. There's hoses on.
Let's take a walk towards the back of this
spinner,
machine.
Yeah. And then we'll go in the cab and look at the.
Okay.
Thing. So these are the spinners. It basically comes off this big conveyor chain, and then drops into this. The speed of this is controlled in the truck from that digital assembly, and the speed of this spinner is also, because you don't want to just throw it out. You want to just let it kind of fall so it does a lane mile, you know.
Okay.
So
you don't want to spray it out.
Right, you don't want it to go all the way in somebody's grass and it's going to kill the grass.
Right. Okay.
So the driver has to sense that. We have all lighting. These are all LED lights back here to give the driver some vision and whatnot. But as you can see, the rust.
Yeah.
And
boy,
the decay.
yeah.
And this conveyor is built into the body. This is not like the small truck you just saw where it's laid in there. This is part of the body of the truck.
That's got to be a lot of maintenance, constantly keeping it lubricated and make sure it doesn't seize up on you. Okay.
Yes. So this is a lot of wear.
Now there's like a sprayer. It looks like there. It looks like.
Yes.
Is that what's that?
We spray brine or calcium chloride out of there to help with the salt, so that way it activates the salt a little faster.
Okay.
So you know how we spray the roads with the brine to pre-treat the roads? We also spray the salt as it falls into this hopper, so that way it actually wets it and it actually activates it faster. So on a cold night, the brine will saturate into the salt. So it just takes longer for the salt to activate if it was just dry salt.
Okay.
So it may take 10 minutes for it to activate on a cold road on a cold night when it's under 32, 27. Let's say it's 20 degrees out. If you spray the brine or the calcium on it, it activates faster. So maybe that salt will start de-icing the road in 2 minutes versus 10 minutes.
Okay.
So it's a big savings for a little village like this, where we don't have a lot of manpower going out. We only have, 2 big trucks, 2 little trucks.
Right.
And it really helps alleviate, because
buys yourself some time.
These guys are all over
outfit.
the place, right? These guys are all over the place on a night like that.
Right.
And it just, it's a lot sitting on the people driving these trucks.
Yes.
And it definitely gives them a little bit more breathing space.
And this year you were talking about there's going to be a different something different to the
We're
barn?
experimenting.
Oh, okay, all right. I don't want to give it away here. Okay, all right.
Tuckahoe
Okay.
is experimenting with beet juice.
Okay.
It's the sugar root of the beet.
Okay.
And it's not the beet you eat. It's a root, and we're gonna mix it with. Right now we're mixing it with calcium because it's what we had in stock, but we're gonna be mixing it with brine, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna be a little less corrosive on the roads and the trucks and everything else, and hopefully it'll work out. But there's other states using it and other municipalities using it, and they've had good success with it. So we're gonna give it a shot, and We try to experiment on anything we can.
So aside from being the lead mechanic, you're a chemist also, I can see.
Yeah, I do all kinds of stuff.
Wow, that's
It's
fantastic.
always Mr. Marco's vision.
Yes, we have Frank DeMarco here. He was out on our trolley tour. So, Frank, we've been taking a tour of the whole property here. Frank makes this all happen here. So, you know what? Let's walk back over here just a little bit. We'll get out of the sun. Perfect.
It's the hottest time of the day.
I know. Yeah. So we've seen the bucket truck. We've seen some of the dump trucks. We just got a really good overview on the snowplow, the leaf box. So we're shifting over. But one of the things I wanted our residents to realize is that, you know, because we hear this a lot, like, hey, where are all the garbage trucks? Well, we don't have, 6 garbage trucks
Right.
or a dozen garbage trucks. We don't really need that because, you really have it down to a science. It's kind of split up in half, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah, it's split up on the north end and the south end. There's 2 trucks, and we're accommodating 6,500 residents here.
Okay.
So that's all we really need in our community. Is the
Right.
2 trucks. Yeah, it seems like because they're all over the place at all various times of the week that we have multiple trucks. But
That's
yeah,
true.
we only really have 2.
Right. And the same thing for the plowing, too, as well.
Correct.
It's sort of split up.
Yes, one for the north side, one for the south end.
Right. And they're big machines here.
They
that's
are
for
big.
Sure. Yeah.
And Joe does a great job maintaining them.
I know.
You know,
We're finding that out. That's for sure.
you know,
I believe they're 10 years old now. I mean, you say like yesterday we replaced them, but they're 2006 now, 2007. One's a 6 and one's a 7.
Yeah.
We replaced them 1 year apart, and it's hard to believe 10 years have passed already.
It
So,
goes quickly.
yes,
That's for sure.
It certainly has.
Let's move on to the next one. Everyone's very familiar with the next vehicle that we have here. Be the solution, not the pollution. I know that was Mayor Fitzpatrick's son. That was he coined that phrase. So good job, James. He did an excellent job with that. But tell us a little bit about our garbage trucks. I know we have one on order. I know we're all excited. Can't wait till it comes in. Right?
Yes. Well, we've come a long way with garbage trucks. We've also experimented with them a little bit over the years. I don't know if Joel told you, but a couple of years back, we were collecting vegetable oil from restaurants, processing the oil, and fueling our trucks 100% with vegetable oil.
Right.
But with the purchase of the newer trucks, it's kind of hard getting a warranty on the truck that's going to be fueled on vegetable oil nowadays.
Right.
So that's the only reason we had stopped the process.
Because of the warranty.
Correct.
They're not going to warranty if we go ahead and retrofit that
Yes.
engine to operate on that fuel. It's out of warranty. And,
Exactly.
I know that some of the older trucks that we had, the expenses were just phenomenal.
They were.
So, we decided we didn't want to keep putting good money to a bad vehicle. So that's why we have one on order. Some of the trucks that we had in the past, I know the sides were bursting out. So, but
They do take a lot of abuse. They go out there every day.
But the newer trucks, is there something in particular that makes them, a lot more efficient? I guess they're more efficient on fuel. Are they easier to manage? Creature comforts, I guess, in the cab, Anthony, a lot better in the newer vehicles?
Yes. Anything new is better, right?
Yes.
Anything new.
Well, Joel talked about the sustainable.
Yeah, it's mainly environmental with the emissions and whatnot. On top of you talk about us going away from the vegetable oil. We also, the whole fleet uses B20 vegetable oil bio mix
Okay.
that we buy on the state contract, and we're still using a vegetable blend in the fuel, just
Oh.
not straight vegetable oil.
And that's in all the vehicles.
And that's
think.
all the vehicles, all the diesel vehicles,
Right.
which are all the heavy trucks and
Right.
and whatnot. So we still are using it in these trucks, but the emission systems on these trucks are, state of the art. I mean, the economy on the trucks are much better than
Right.
the old ones with the smoke coming out.
Oh,
There's a-
yeah. We used to call them the smokers. That's right. That's true. Well, let's talk a little bit about, all right, so the garbage truck leaves the yard in the morning, 6 o'clock, give or take. So come on over, Anthony. So you're going out and tell us about, there's a driver in the truck. I know there's a guy, you call him the puller. He's pulling the garbage.
Houses.
So walk me through a day on the route.
Monday morning, it's household garbage. Truck leaves the yard, 3 men. They start out together, and then usually one gentleman will break off and start pulling houses while the other 2 guys will go to the restaurants and the stores, the dumpster stops, generally speaking, while the other guy is going from house to house making piles.
So these are the residences pulling
Right.
the bags out,
And
making
the-
those piles out
Right.
on each block.
on
Okay.
each block, and the other guys are doing the commercial stops.
Okay.
Down to, like Crestwood side would be, Crestwood parking lot. They
Right.
back down there. They get those stores.
Mm-hmm.
They do the other stores in the Crestwood area on Columbus Avenue, and then they circle back and they go behind, picking up the piles that the guy who's doing the residential houses
So when
has
that
made.
truck is going down the street, you've got the puller. Did I
Right.
get that right?
That's right.
Okay, so the puller, he's already down. And it's funny, I asked one of the guys one time, I said, how many miles a day are, I mean, you think about that. He is walking or running
A lot.
a lot.
Yes.
I mean, like 10 miles a day, or I don't know how many, but a lot. I mean, an incredible amount. Because it's not just that he's walking the streets,
gonna
Tuckahoe
be-
is less than 1 square mile. He is up and down. He's in everyone's backyard.
Yards.
Because we still pull garbage from
From
the
the house, right?
Yep.
From the house. So there's stairs,
Yep.
a lot of stairs. They go up and down, and
That's true.
just
yeah.
up and down on the back of a garbage truck is a workout in itself.
It
Also,
is jumping on the back of the rack. We'll
Right.
actually do a little demo of that
Sure.
in a second. But so the commercial has been picked up. The dumpsters that go up and you pull it back into the back of the receptacle
Right,
here,
right.
into the hopper. And now it's onto the residential streets. They stop in front of that mountain of white bags that are out in
Right.
front of the house. And then everyone throws all that in the back of the truck.
Right.
Do you have to take that truck and empty it a couple of times each morning, or
no,
Okay.
the whole route fits in with one truckload.
okay?
9 out of 10 times.
Okay.
Holidays may be a little different,
Right, Thanksgiving. I
but
guess, a lot of
Thanksgiving and
garbage.
Christmas
Okay.
and stuff like that. But generally speaking, it's one full load.
Okay.
One.
So when that truck is loaded, where are you going? You're not bringing it back here, right?
Transfer station
And where is
over
that?
in Yonkers,
Okay.
right off of by Stu Leonard's,
Okay.
Route 87. Right.
So when you go there, tell me what happens. Are you in line with other garbage trucks?
There,
or-
yes, you go on the line, you go on a scale, you get
Oh, a scale.
weighed,
Okay.
on the scale, then you pull up to the dumping station
Mhm.
where they dump the truck into a hole, generally
You
speaking.
open up the back of
Back
the
of
truck,
it,
I guess.
and the blade pushes out,
Okay.
pushes all the garbage out. Then you go back on the scale, get weighed again. Now you're empty,
Okay.
so they weigh you again, and then you come back to the
Do
yard.
they give you like a receipt saying this is how much your garbage weighed today? Or do they automatically probably?
Send it
Okay.
right to Frank. Gets a bill
Okay.
at the end of the month.
Yes, yeah.
This whole tail comes up in the air. This whole thing lifts up. I mean, we'd have to pull the truck up, but
No, that's
basically,
okay.
this whole tail lifts up in the air, and then there's an ejection port that pushes the garbage out into a bay, which falls into a hole, like Anthony said.
Now, how does this lift up? Is there? That's that piston there.
Would you like to see it?
Oh,
We'd
no,
have
that's-
to. We'd
no,
have to
that's
clear
all right.
the area.
No, that's okay. I could see the big piston there. I
Yeah,
guess
that
what-
lifts it up. I think it lifts it up all the way. I mean, all the way
Okay.
past the thing's over the head like that.
Okay.
And then there's a big panel. As the garbage is going in, we're compacting it, and basically when we're done at the end of the day, it's all the way back here. It's full, and then we push the whole load out. That's
Okay.
that's 25 yards of garbage.
And it's all compacted throughout the
Yes.
day.
And there's
then-
there's a diamond blade on the back of this that really compacts it because it's like sticking, it's like protruding. So
Oh, all right.
it's, engineers figured it out that compacts it even more. So
By putting a blade in there like a wedge
yeah,
blade.
yeah.
Okay.
almost like a diamond looking piece.
Now I look at these. They're huge tires. What does a tire cost?
Several $100s a
Yeah.
piece. These are recaps. We get them a little cheaper for the village, and we try to use the same casings and recap them. So like this tire is almost done, and when we get to the winter months, I'll take this off. I have other ones in stock we'll put on, but we'll send this tire out for capping, and meaning we're going to use this core and we're going to recap this part.
And
And that'll be
recapping
about $350 a piece.
to recap a tire.
Right, but I mean, you're talking in the upwards part of $700 for a new tire.
Right.
That's under contract. That's contract
On the
price.
state
That's not the regular contractor trying to
Right.
buy them. It's even
Yeah.
more.
And we can run recaps because we're locally around the streets. If this truck
Just-
were over the road going to California.
Yeah,
maybe you
I'm not
wouldn't.
positive on the rules on that in New
Right.
York State, but you can't use the recaps on the front, just
Right.
the
Oh,
back.
okay. Mm-hmm.
You know, in this certain trucks you wouldn't use recaps on, but the garbage trucks are one that we really burn out a lot of tires,
Okay.
and we really go through a lot of money in tires on the sanitation trucks, and we try to save a little money for the taxpayers there.
And the truck, is this also, you need that Class A license that Anthony talked about? Or no, you
but
don't?
it's close.
It's
It's
getting
the
close
weight
to
the
that.
weight of the truck is very close. I mean,
Okay.
this is 37 feet long. This truck. This is
37 feet long.
and it's over 8 feet wide, wider than a lane. So it's 102 inches wide. So it's a big vehicle.
So when people are parking their cars on the streets here in Tuckahoe, and if they keep it 18 inches or 2 feet off the curb, they have to realize this truck has a hard time squeezing by.
Not only that, but the swing out on this truck when this truck turns is about 3 to 4 feet. So if I came out of this yard and I made a right, you're going to see the whole tail end of the truck go like this.
Because of the back end of this truck
Right,
here.
just the overhang. It's the overhang to the tail
Right.
of the vehicle.
Okay.
So you got a lot of swing out. So you just got to be careful in such a congested area with the narrow streets, especially on some of these side roads. It wouldn't be the first time we can't get down the road.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, maybe we'll take a look in the cab. You want to
Sure.
give us a little tour of this? I notice you have wheel chocks down here. Make sure the truck doesn't roll. Oh, it's a Mack truck?
It's convenient for us. We buy this off contract, and they're right down 22 in the Bronx. If we needed some serviceable items, a warranty or whatever, it's convenient for us. Mack is a strong truck. I mean, there are other ones that are really strong, but we try to stay in the price range where we could, use the truck. I mean, they've been really good to us. I mean, there are cheaper trucks we could buy.
Cheaper isn't always going to last you as long, too.
Cheaper is not always. Not always better.
Yeah, that's true. I get
Cheaper's not always cheaper.
No, that's right.
So this is our newest garbage truck.
Okay.
And basically, all his controls are up there. We have reverse camera. We can keep it on all the time. We can keep it on just in
you
reverse.
do have a backup camera.
Oh, we have kept.
Just like
even
in the
older,
cars.
even in the older one,
Okay.
we've outfitted them to have them, just because they need to see what's going on back there. And we don't just use them for backing up. They could see the guys walking behind the truck.
Right.
It's very important safety-wise.
Oh, yes.
For them to have that. And we've even implemented into other trucks that we've had.
Okay.
Some big, some small, some with blind spots,
Mm-hmm.
and we try to put them in, but they're again expensive accessory.
Yeah, that's true. But it makes it for a much safer condition.
It certainly does.
Now, one of the things I always talk about, especially in the wintertime, you see the guys, they're holding on to the platform on the back here. So they're standing on here. They're holding on to the grip. They're holding on to the grip here. It's got a little serrated edge on the bottom here. But, I look at some of these poor guys on a nasty,
cold day.
freezing morning. It's freezing rain. And I'm like, wow,
It's not nice.
Yeah. So.
It is not nice, and the wind's hitting you, and the snow, and it's just it's not an easy thing for them. Especially in that freezing, bitter cold and snowing and raining, it definitely takes a toll on you.
Well, especially early in the morning too, very cold. So
I talked about the swing out. They're standing right on the swing out area.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, if this truck were turning, it'd knock me over.
Right, exactly. It would come all the way out here where we're standing. Yes.
Well, it may not be sexy, but it's actually a good-looking truck. So.
And we tried the truck that you said we had on order.
Right.
It's pretty close to being this same truck.
Okay.
We tried to, when something works, we try to keep it working. And there's a lot of variables here in the village. When we order a truck like this, there's a kick bar to push the dumpsters up. We have a lot of hills here. How do you get it all to work with your terrain? So we try to. We have 2 tippers back here behind the thing for anybody who has the pails outfitted to tip the garbage in. Some of these pails are heavy, and we're trying to.
So you slide the pail up against this,
right, and then this picks it up. But these ones kind of tuck away because
it flips it over.
We have to tuck them away like that because this bar is for the dumpsters. So we have multi-purpose. We also have a winch that we could bring the cables up. We can use this bar to bring the dumpsters up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of options here. If one piece is down, we can use the other piece. Well, you have to get these parts from a specific vendor, and
Right.
it's just time-consuming to have them shipped and whatever. Everything's can't go up and down like that.
So the garbage truck is going out, as Anthony was saying, it's going out on Monday and Friday picking up just regular household garbage. When this truck is, Anthony, tell me, when this truck is coming out, does it go out on a Tuesday? Let's talk about that.
Yes, it does.
And what's it doing on Tuesday?
Tuesday picks up bulk materials.
So like a
Kitchen
desk
table,
or
a chair,
couch or
a
something.
couch, mattress that is in a bag.
And you throw all that right in the
Throw it right in there. The blade crushes it, breaks it up a little bit, compacts it,
Okay.
and then they go to the dump with it. Same
do you go to
dump.
that same place?
Same place.
The MRF
Same dump.
station.
Right, the MRF
Okay.
station where they dump it.
And then in the afternoon on that Tuesday, he'll explain to you. On the Tuesday afternoon, they do TVs. They do e-waste.
E-waste,
So
computers.
after they come in from their route, they'll do their e-waste and their computers. So they're really doing the route twice.
Okay, on a
Right.
Tuesday. All
There's
right.
certain things they won't take them at the MRF station.
They're not
Can't put a
You don't wanna
TV.
crush it, the mercury on the TV. We
Okay.
have a separate recycle,
We have a separate dumpster in the yard.
Okay.
It's called our e-waste dumpster. Computers, TV screens, anything electronic
Right.
goes into this
Computer
dumpster.
monitors.
And
Right.
we recycle that dumpster
Right.
through the county. The county comes and gets that dumpster.
Maybe once
Okay.
a month they come. Once it's full, filled with TVs and all that stuff, they come in, they pick it up, they dump it, and give us back an empty
So
container.
e-waste people should be putting out at the curb on a Tuesday. you're
Tuesday,
saying?
right?
Next to the
Monday night
couch.
for Tuesday.
Monday night for Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, have it out early, of course.
Right.
Okay. So then on Wednesday, talk to me about recycling. I know Wednesdays are recycling day.
Recycling day. It's a paper, cardboard, newspapers. The first pickup, they do the route twice. Each
Okay.
truck, both sides, does the route twice. First time around is cardboard, paper. That's from homeowners, stores, businesses, and then to the MRF
Does that
station.
go to that same place?
MRF station
Okay.
dumps in a different bay with just newspaper, cardboard. They come back, then they do bottles and cans, which are in the containers that
Right.
people put out in front of their house.
Okay.
They dump those same place, MRF station. Different
So you're
bay.
going there twice on a
That's
Wednesday.
Twice.
That's a full day.
That's a
full
long day, I
That's
guess.
a long
Okay.
day, yeah.
All right.
They go long day. So
So when you get over to that MRF station, there's one area you go for the Monday garbage. There's
Right.
another one for the
cardboard,
cardboard,
one for bottles and
one
cans.
for bottles and cans.
When you
Okay.
get
What
with-
about the couches and all that kind
That
of
goes
stuff?
with the regular garbage.
That goes in the regular garbage area.
side,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
There's actually a touchpad. You say what you have, what kind of load you have, and then they tell you where to dump it. So
Okay.
in other words, you'll say, "I have recycle matters,"
So
and
when
they'll
you
tell
pull
you.
up, there's a keypad. I've
Right.
got regular garbage. I've got.
right.
Recent,
Okay.
On the scale.
That's a recent upgrade they did to the
All right, that's good.
facility.
County's keeping it up to date. That's
Yes,
good.
yeah.
All right. Well, we've talked garbage. How about this giant John Deere? Right. Everyone should have a Deere, right?
That's a 2005.
This is
2005 John Deere. It's a pretty large one. We bought it on state contract back in 2005.
how
and
tall are those tires? Like 4 feet, 4.5 feet tall.
At least.
So, tell me what you use this machine for.
Oh, it gets used for everything. I mean, you're talking about the heavy stuff the wheel lift picks up for recycling. If something's bigger than that, boiler or something like that, the guys can't lift. This will come get it. This is used for loading trucks, loading salt.
Okay.
This vehicle is essential.
The snow
essential.
mountains. When
Talk
we
about,
have the
talk
snow
about
mountains.
snow removal, and
Yeah.
I mean it's just endless. I mean,
And how many
there's
of these
nothing
do we
this
have?
can't do.
Just one.
Just one.
Okay. Got it.
And this goes down. You're talking about the trucks can't be loaded. You can't put salt in the trucks. You can't put salt on the streets.
Right.
This is
If this guy goes
ascent-
down, we would
we're
knock on the
paralyzed.
door. Yeah, but we would knock on the door of our neighbor in Eastchester, Bronxville.
Well,
Say,
we have
please,
some
you got to
smaller-
help us out.
We have smaller vehicles to load it with, but it takes
Right.
a lot more to
Oh
load.
yeah, of course.
You know,
And in an emergency, everyone's got the
yeah,
same problem that
yeah,
we have.
exactly. We try to help out with the other municipalities.
Right.
If we have to borrow something, our garbage truck is down. We try to borrow
Yeah.
it. There's not always an extra one around.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
yes, everybody's very. I mean, immediately area, Eastchester and Bronxville are very accommodating, as we are to them.
Right. Now this requires the Class A license. I take it.
No, but
No?
certain
Okay.
people know how to drive
Right,
it.
because
It's-
this
it's
is
a big piece of
It's not like
equipment.
driving a car.
No,
that's for
it's
sure.
not. It's big. You got to
Okay.
be very aware of your
It articulates
surroundings.
in the middle too.
Oh yeah, let's look at that. Let's.
That's about it. It's a big piece of equipment. I mean, driving it on the road, you're taking up the whole lane.
Yeah.
Like you say, if somebody parks, it's tough to get by with
Yeah.
this. But
Is there heat in that cab?
there's
up
heat.
there?
Is
Okay.
yes, there's heat. There's
Yeah,
air
yeah,
conditioning.
John Deere. John Deere is.
It's a nice
John
machine.
Deere.
John Deere is
There's
good.
nothing like
yeah.
a deer. They
There's
say.
nothing like a deer. We also use it for seasonal setup. You talk about pulling these sanders down and putting them on the trucks. And,
Okay.
You know,
It's like a forklift almost, really. Okay.
You can take the bucket off.
Oh, you can.
yeah, it's a multi-purpose bucket.
Oh wow.
The bucket
Okay.
comes off, and
We
you
have a
put
big set of
forks
forks. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the only attachment we have for it.
These tires are huge. I mean, that's got to be 4 feet tall.
But those are some serious dollars.
That's
We
yeah.
just
See, that's
actually-
$1,000 tire or $2,000
yeah,
tire. I
Keep
guess.
going.
Wow, really? Oh,
We
my
just
goodness.
converted them to radials because it was time to change them. Those front ones are brand new. We did the rear ones last year.
Okay.
So it's
I see big oil filters, so
Yes,
you're changing them.
everything
you're doing
gets
maintenance
serviced.
on this.
the maintenance on this is before the season, like now, this was just service. This
Okay.
truck is ready to go. Same goes with all the plow trucks. Usually we like to service them right before the inspection.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a lot of hours, not a lot of mileage. So, but we're in a dusty environment, so you want to change the air filters. Are very big on the diesels, so we service anything right before the season usually, so it's ready to go.
You raise a good point, because I know that, we talk about vehicles when we're looking at it from an administrative standpoint in terms of replacement, and some people will say, well, you might have a police car that only has, 20,000 miles on it or 10,000 miles on it, or a vehicle like this that doesn't have a lot of miles on it, and they're trying to, correlate that to their car that might have 150,000 miles, but it's the hours really, because especially vehicles like
And
this,
the
they're
operating,
idling. Yeah.
It's just we're only 3/4 of a square mile here, or whatever the technical mileage is, but we're not really doing the mileage other than taking the highway over to the transfer station.
Right.
We're just getting a lot of idle hours.
That's the biggest trip that garbage truck is taking, is going to
Right. Well,
Stu,
unless we have to go to Jersey and have it repaired.
yeah, if it's going to be serviced, right? Well, that's
But-
got to be an interesting ride.
Yeah,
going
that's
over the
a
George
very
Washington Bridge.
that's a very interesting ride. So, but we try to do most of the stuff in house, or we have somebody in the Bronx that we take the bigger stuff that we can't handle too. But we try to handle what we can. But again, I'm only one person. and
Sure, of course.
We have a lot of equipment, and things can't always wait
No,
to have fixed. And so we have a big fleet. We only have a handful of guys in the yard, so everything has to.
It's a
Things
good
don't
balance.
stop.
Good
We don't say,
balance,
"Oh, we
yeah.
can't do garbage today because we don't have a garbage truck."
Right. Yeah,
It
garbage
just-
has to be picked
you have
up.
to kind of
Yeah.
juggle it all. So,
So we
do a good
talked
job.
about garbage. We have 2 trucks. We pick up the north and south. Snow plowing, 2 trucks. We're kind of plowing the north and south. We have 1 vehicle that kind of services those both north and south plow trucks, putting the salt, loading up the salt and sand on it, as well as it services other things. One of these front end loaders doing the whole village, right?
Just the size of the bucket, the snow removal, which Anthony would be the operator for.
Right.
But the snow removal, that's over 3 yards of material in that bucket.
Just in that bucket there.
When you're talking about loading a truck for snow removal, if you're trying to do it with the Bobcat or you're trying to do it with this,
Right.
this will do in three things. He'll fill a truck up, and the truck could be pulling down the road. Where the Bobcat, it would take 100 scoops. It's only 1 yard bucket. So
Right, okay.
it's just a bigger apparatus. But then to get between the meters and some of the tighter spots, you
Yeah,
would need
that's
something
true.
smaller. So
point, good point.
different things serve different functions.
All right, well, let's move on to the next piece of equipment. Everyone's familiar with this next piece over here. And I know, Anthony, I see you operating this a lot. Yeah. So tell us about this.
Well, this is the street sweeper.
Oh my God, I never realized all the controls
two-
on there.
yes.
It looks like a cockpit for an airplane.
This vehicle actually has 2 motors. One
Okay.
for the truck, and one for the it's actually a vacuum.
Okay.
It sort of works like the leaf truck. The brooms push the debris in front of this vacuum here, which sucks it up into the back.
Show us that again. You were
This
saying.
is the broom which pops out here, goes along the curb, pushes the debris, garbage, leaves,
So it pushes it underneath the truck.
underneath here, where this is a vacuum actually. This thing right here, this
Okay.
sits down, and the stuff goes on that gets sucked up here into the back.
Oh, okay, all right.
And that's is how we go to dump it.
We
So
dump
it-
it right into a contaminated sweeper's dumpster. So
Dumpster, right.
years ago we would have to dump it on the floor, scoop it up with the loader, put it in the container.
Okay.
Now we're actually saving a step. We actually pull back right up to the dumpster and dump it right into the dumpster.
Okay.
So it's a little more efficient. It's all stainless steel, the back hopper, just for longevity. And we pay a little bit more for it when we buy it, but it just doesn't rust out like the regular metals do.
Now, I know we replaced this in the last, how many years has it been?
I think this is a 2013.
Has
so
it been that
yeah,
many years
time
now?
passes.
Okay. I remember it took a while to order this. And one of the things that I remember in talking to you guys, that the old machine, the inside, I remember you were fixing it. You were Band-Aiding that thing
Oh, yeah, it was
for
rotted
the
out. It
longest.
was rotted
and
out,
it's
yeah.
amazing how it sandblasts the inside, and it really, really deteriorates that. It takes a beating.
even the stainless will deteriorate over time, even
Okay.
though it doesn't rust quite as bad, but it just will hold up a little better. But
Right.
again, this vehicle goes out every day, even in the wintertime when It really doesn't need to. We try to keep the streets, even though it has a schedule that stops at a certain time. We try to keep it out there, but with the cold weather and the water, it's really not supposed to be out in the cold. You freeze pipes
and one of these that services the entire village.
One of these, and this is a lot smaller than the one we had.
Yeah.
So it's a little more convenient to get in and out of some tight spots, but again, it doesn't hold the capacity the old one held. But the price reflective was,
right. I remember it was expensive. Yeah, very expensive. I remember
this was expensive. This was this piece of equipment was about $150,000, and I think the bigger one that we had, if we wanted to replace it with that same one, was probably over $2.25.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The truck market really went through the roof with all this emissions and stuff that are on these trucks that we need, and they become more technical and having the tools to repair them and whatnot. It just you have to choose your battles. Sometimes it has to go back to the dealer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, how often do you have to empty this? I mean, you're doing the whole. You can't do the whole village in one day, I'm sure.
Well, basically, what happens is the truck goes out, does the mains first thing in the morning. Columbus Avenue, Main Street, Crestwood area, does all the downtown area district. And then between 9 and 11, there's alternate side parking, certain areas of the town. That's the route that we go on, depending on the time of the year. This time of the year with the leaves, I happen to fill up sooner than normal because I'm picking up a lot of leaves. It's a vacuum. It picks up a lot of leaves. And so probably dump twice a day this time of the year. Summertime, maybe once a day. It all depends on time of the year, I guess, is the best way to put it.
And the main purpose is basically to, let's say, it's to sweep up, dirt and things like that, up along the curbside. But, you do see like a bottle or a can or something like that. So it's sucking that up.
It's sucking that right up. Sure. Yes, it can. It works very well, to be honest with you. It'll pick up a lot of garbage. I mean, it really keeps the downtown area clean and the neighborhoods. It's good for the catch basins too. We try to keep that so nothing goes down into the catch basins. This gets it.
If you're not picking it up, it's going.
It's going to wind up getting in the catch basin at some point.
Very good point. Very good point. All right.
You want to touch base about the two steering wheels in the cab?
Oh,
you drive it from either side.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Look at that.
I noticed it. Yeah. That's interesting. I don't think I ever seen that.
So basically, we could drive it from the optimal side. Anthony drives this from he drives it from this side because this is the curb side. So the opposite side, you would drive a normal car, like if you were in England.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
just for convenience, so he could see where the broom is. Like you said, there's a lot of switches up there. He's got to tilt the broom. He's got to do all kinds of stuff. He has lighting. He has all kinds of stuff he has to control from there. So we have to try to figure out, he could drive it from the other side and look through the mirror, but it's just a little more efficient from doing it from the other side, So he usually drives it from this side.
Now, when you start steering it, is the other steering wheel turning
Oh, yes.
also?
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
All right. That's interesting. All right. Let's keep moving over and see what we got here next. Well, I see a big white something on the back of this. So tell us what this is, Joey.
I think I'll start on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll let you hold the mic. So this is a double-purpose truck. We used this truck for watering in the springtime. We used to have a machine we used to slide in to the back of a pickup truck, and we used to water all the plants because we have a lot of waterings, a lot of places that don't have sprinklers. So it's like a full-time thing just to water the flowers that we're putting up. So we decided to make this truck and have it all year round. So in the summer and the spring, we water plants with it, and we have a hose here with a retractable reel, and we put attachments on it, and we basically water the hanging baskets, the flower beds, all kinds of stuff that needs watering, otherwise the plants will die. But in the wintertime, we needed a vehicle to spray the brine on the road for the ice control and whatnot. So this kind of was my animal. I kind of put it together because, like Bronxville would have just purchased this vehicle, but we purchased the truck, and we actually did all this ourselves in house. So we basically made this spray bar, and we spray the roads with this truck.
Okay.
And now we're going to incorporate the beet juice, and we're going to see if we have to change the nozzle size and the strainer, and we have a few modifications we're going to make to accommodate this. But this is where we spray the roads. We pre-treat the roads before a storm, so that way the calcium's already on the road, and it'll give us a little more time to work before we're coming out and salting the
Right.
roads. So it's our version of, and we've been doing it a long time now, and it seems pretty successful. So, but again, now this truck never gets. When I tell you about seasonal setup, we take the stuff off the truck, we store it, and we set it up for something else. This truck is multi-season set up, we're ready to
stays
go.
the way it
I
is,
mean, I have to
just-
pull a few components on and off of
Right.
it, but the main apparatus to pull all that stuff off would be on a skid. Normally, now we have it mounted on the truck because this truck is just, we're watering right up until now, and now we're going to go out and we're going to.
Yeah, that's why all the, you know what, flowers have to get watered.
But a
and-
lot
yeah.
of thought got to go into this.
I'm
This
sure,
is
yes, I
this
can
is
see that.
this is a piece of equipment that we definitely we needed not to, because we don't have a lot of room in the yard to store the tank
Right.
and whatnot. So it's good that it's able to be used over all the seasons where most of the stuff we do have to pull stuff on and off.
Right.
Because we need the trucks for other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
this is our newest piece of equipment.
our newest piece of equipment, our newest truck here. So it's Ford. Now, some people may say, why you buy Ford, not Chevy? Because we buy what's on the state contract. And what we mean
do.
by that, a lot of people don't realize that. The state of New York, what they'll do is they'll actually put a bid out for vehicles. And the different manufacturers, Ford, Chevy, Dodge, they'll go ahead and bid on vehicles for the entire state. It could be for municipalities, it could be for schools, for basically anyone that is a state agency.
Right.
So this particular year, the Ford dealer won that contract, so he has a very, very reduced price. So we're able to buy a
Right.
pickup truck at a much reduced price than somebody else in the street would.
And we do that with the New York State has a great program. We do that with NJPA, which is a National Joint Alliance program that is also a commodity contract. And we do it with U.S. communities, and also the county has an excellent county. We piggyback off the county a lot. And on top of sometimes we take some other municipalities and we piggyback off them also.
Yeah, which is good. You know what? You're
Versus
buying in
going
volume.
to
you
bid.
know.
Sometimes when we go out to bid, it's a very tight spec that we need to build, and
Right.
sometimes it's not worth us doing that when we're buying a like vehicle that somebody else already has. If we could piggyback off a contract somewhere, that's what we're doing to save some money. So
So this is it's not just a pickup truck. There's a plow on the front of that.
it certainly
also.
is.
Okay.
Let's take a look. That's an 8-foot Western plow. We just had that put on. We bought that off contract, and
So this is something you would use in
This-
a parking lot or maybe in a very narrow street or something?
this would be something. So we have the two big plow trucks, and then we
Okay.
have the two dump trucks with the sanders. This would be something to help with the parking lots. Yeah.
Okay.
This is not big enough to really do the roads.
Right.
Those other trucks could offset the big trucks better than this truck. I mean, it's good, but those are a little heavier,
Right.
and dual rear wheels is just a stronger vehicle.
And no scratches in it,
This
so
is-
let's keep it that way.
This is an F-250. This is a nice sized truck, but it's
Beautiful.
not dual rear wheels like that,
Right.
that dump truck, of course, the
Right.
way it is. It's nice for parking lots and
Mm-hmm.
tighter spots. So yeah, it's beautiful.
And behind me here, Bobcat. Tell us a little bit about this.
This is our smaller loader. It's a 1 yard bucket. They use it. The masons use it a ton, but we use it for leaf collection also on dead ends. We use it for also salt loading on the small trucks. We use it for what else do we use it for? Snow removal.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
true.
It just could get in some spots where the big loader can't. I mean, that loader is massive. It's,
I thought it was interesting. Anthony, can you climb in there? Because it's funny how people, like, you're not coming in through a side door here.
No.
Show us how you get in this. You're actually crawling right through the front of this vehicle. And then you've got two joysticks there.
Control how you turn it forward, back, left, right. This I have foot pedals here that make the bucket go up.
Okay.
Dump the bucket. This is the perfect size bucket for putting salt in the smaller pickup trucks. The loader bucket is too wide, so you spill it all over the place. This
Okay.
is the perfect size. Also, it's good for between the meters, doing snow removal. The bucket fits right between the 2 meters. We pull it back, and then the big loader comes by. That's how we do it, and we put it in the truck and take it away. But this also has an attachment also, which a backhoe attachment.
Okay.
It has another attachment for like when we're doing trees, digging a hole for a tree. It makes the hole, gets it started for us.
Forks.
It has the forks on it for unloading stuff off of trucks that get delivered.
Okay.
Things like that. It's
Very
very
We have a jackhammer too.
has a jackhammer
It's very versatile.
attachment. It's a great piece of equipment.
Yeah, very, very handy.
And we use it unlike other municipalities, other places you would use it just for in the mud and whatever. So you can see the tires are kind of bald right now. We keep them like that just because we drive it on the road all the time. It's a skid steer, so it's constantly eating up the tires.
It's being used all the time.
Right, so we won't put the good tires on this thing, which we keep in stock, and I rotate them on and off until right when the snow hits, like next month. So we'll have the nice aggressive tires that in the snow it'll slide nice.
Right.
When we're just going from job site to job site on the road, it just eats up the tires too fast. So we try to offset. They're going to come off next month probably, and I'm going to put the snow tires on, and then these will come back on in the spring, and we'll put those back in storage.
Great piece of equipment, that's for sure.
It certainly is.
Well, I think
They
we've.
laughed at me when I bought this.
Oh, really?
They said, "What are we going to do with that toy?"
Oh, boy,
Everybody
gets
wants
used-
it, yep.
Yeah, everyone's using it, that's
Yes,
for sure.
It has definitely proven
Yeah.
itself that we did not think we were getting that kind of piece
Yeah.
of equipment. We just thought we were going to try to offset some of the sidewalk stuff, and it really backs up the loader nicely. It can reach the big trucks if we had to, if that thing was down. It's all about having a backup plan. That's what it's all about.
Right. That's right.
So
Because as you said, it's Monday morning. The garbage has got to be picked up. When it's snowing, we've got to clean these streets. We've got to clear the snow. Just, you know what? We cannot take the chance that there's an emergency in a particular house. We've got to make sure that everyone's accessible to our residents.
and we're doing this with a handful of
Right.
guys. It's a small department, so there's not a lot of backup men or equipment. So
It's efficiency. And
It's
you know
efficiency.
what? You guys do a great job. Frank runs a
Thank you.
great department. So, you know what we're going to do? Maybe we'll take a walk over in the yard and take a look at some of these stuff in
Sounds
the yard.
great.
Well, we've moved into the yard. Actually, this is our DPW yard with Frank DeMarco. He's our Commissioner of Public Works. Everybody knows Frank.
Welcome.
And Frank was actually out on the trolley here. He was given a trolley tour. So let's start. What's the address of the yard here?
15 Marbledale Road.
Okay. And is it like a business? People can come here, like you open Monday through Friday? Like, if somebody wanted to come down here for a purpose, maybe to talk to you about an issue that when should they come down here?
Oh, they could really come down anytime. I suggest that they maybe call and to let me know they're coming,
Okay.
just so I can make it a point to be with you, spend some time, and discuss any issue that they might have or any questions.
Okay. So it's really not a place that people, obviously it's a working yard here, but you have an office. We're going to go in your office in
Yes.
a minute. But we'll just kind of finish up. We've been looking at all the equipment. What's this guy over here?
This is our Jack. Well, it was Joe. I mean, I couldn't stop Joe before. He had all the answers, but that's why my job is so easy because of Joe. Yeah, this is our jackhammer. It's fairly new. We bought this and a compressor. We bought the compressor probably about 4 years ago,
Okay.
and we use this to break up concrete, sidewalks, and rocks and stone.
And if you have a problem with the sewer or something like that, and you got to
Correct.
break up around that.
We break up around that, lift a manhole cover, reset it.
Okay.
This is a versatile piece of equipment. We use this quite a bit.
And we can tow it behind some of those pickup trucks,
Yes.
I guess?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And what's this little guy next to us here? Looks like a snowplow.
No, it's a versatile piece of equipment. We mow our parks in the summertime with this, which is an attachment that goes onto the back, and this actually does our sidewalks during the winter months.
Okay.
It
so
fits
they're
perfect,
Not, so
so-
they don't have to shovel the sidewalks. They
Correct.
can run this down the sidewalk.
And we have a salter, which is a spreader on the back. It also spreads salt within the sidewalk area.
And the mowing deck, I guess, attaches to underneath the whole carriage there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's a John Deere. Nothing
John
runs
Deere.
like a deer. We've been saying that all day. Okay.
Yeah, it's heated cab and.
Oh, wow. Heated
yeah.
cab, too. Okay.
And it's a pretty versatile piece of equipment. It really is. We use it quite a bit throughout the year.
So, again, we get to use it different types of years. It's cutting lawn, and then it's plowing snow. So that's good.
Correct. Yes.
Multi-purpose.
Yep.
And these are obvious. A lot of people, I have one at home, so I guess people don't realize that DPW still needs snow blowers too, because the village owns property, so the
Correct.
village has to maintain its
Yeah.
own property.
And this is what we use when we maintain our properties, especially by the train station, all the sidewalks and the paths that we have within the village. They come in various sizes, as you can see, and I think we even have them bigger than this, but yes.
steps of Village Hall and the library,
Yep.
community center, places like that.
Yep.
So, so that's interesting too. I guess people don't realize that when there's a snow event, it's not like, let's say, the library is out there shoveling their sidewalks. We have to, we meaning DPW, has to get down there and tackle that in addition to plowing all the streets.
Correct. The streets, the or parking facilities, the
Right.
parking lots, and the sidewalk areas. A lot of public right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have a total of 16 parking lots within the village. So big undertaking.
So
every
all
year.
those sidewalks around the parks, it's just like people have to plow the snow from in front of their houses. We have to plow in front of the parks. That's our
Correct.
That's our private property. So,
Yes.
or public property, but we have an obligation to maintain that. So it takes a little bit of time because it's not like you have 50 guys here. So
Takes
how
a lot
many
of time.
how many guys do you have in the department?
18. Total of 18 in the
18.
department.
Okay. And when you have a snow event, everyone gets called, or I guess it depends on how severe the event is.
It depends, yeah. It depends on the event itself. Our sanitation department, our men actually go up to your doorstep to collect the garbage. So if it's an icy, stormy day, I'd rather them not do that. I'm not looking to have anybody get hurt.
Right.
So we do pull them away and do sidewalks and shoveling and snow plowing,
Okay.
and also using a blower.
Okay. Well, this yard here, for those of us who've lived in the village a very long time, this has changed quite a bit, actually. But you know what, before I jump into that, tell us, I see a clothing bin over there. Is that something
Yes,
new?
that's fairly new. We got that a couple of months ago. And this is a really, it's a great feature that we're starting with. Clothes that are donated here, the village is actually getting paid for the tonnage of the amount of clothes that they collect. But most importantly, it's going to a great cause. It's going for reuse. Clothing is repaired. If it's ripped, it's repaired. If it needs a button, it gets replaced. And it's sold at a very minimal cost. Something that might cost $50 will get resold for $2 or $3 to the needy.
Okay, that's wonderful. And that's available when the yard is open, and that's Monday through Friday?
Correct. Monday through Friday, we're here. But there's also another container at the library.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have two in the village.
All right, so somebody could go there 24/7, I guess.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, please, I suggest that everybody use these containers. It really goes to a good cause.
Oh, that's excellent. I'll bet a lot of people don't realize that. So
No,
that's
they really
good.
don't. This is hidden because obviously you can see that we don't have room in the
don't.
yard here, but if I had the room, I would have this right out front.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting point. I know that we've looked at the yard before. We keep our salt just past the end of the building over here.
Yep.
That's where our salt is maintained. But it's not really an enormous yard to begin with. So what would you say the width of this yard is here? Maybe,
The width of the yard is about maybe 125 feet
okay, overall.
by
All right.
probably 600 feet.
Okay. And that's it. That's DPW.
That's DPW.
It's not like we have places in other locations.
Oh, this is it.
This is it.
This is it.
This is ground zero right here. Okay.
Yes.
So, and here we have to store all those trucks that we just saw out there.
Yes.
So, and some people will ask me once in a while, they say, hey, how come you keep a snowplow out on Marbledale Road? And we do that, I'm sure, so we can get a jump on things too. So when
Yeah, we don't want anything blocking us, especially under the storm conditions.
Right.
We want to be prepared, so we do have the vehicles in the street. Obviously, this is only one way in and one way out, so if something gets stuck here or blocks our driveway, we don't have the capability of maneuvering, the trucks in and out of here.
Let's take a look at the salt shed. I
Sure.
know we have a new covering that's coming in, so
We have a canopy coming in. We just ordered a canopy about a month ago, and it's going to be covering this entire area. We just built this. Our salt storage was always here, but we just built this new area. And all we need is really a canopy right now. So a canopy is going to protect the salt,
okay.
allowing it not to run off, because when it gets wet, it runs off. And even if we cover it with a tarp, like you see here, the sides get infiltrated with water.
Okay.
So to protect the salt and protect the environment, we really needed a canopy on here. So within a month, we should have it in place.
Oh, that's wonderful. Good,
Yeah.
perfect timing too.
Perfect
So-
timing.
So this is where we keep our salt. So that's where we saw now all the pieces of equipment. The big snowplow truck probably pulls in here. You got the front end loader picking up the salt, loading up the back of the truck. He's out.
He's out and ready to go.
Okay. And then trucks come back in. They got a broken hose. I got a broken something or other. Joey's backing it into this bay over here, and he's fixing it. So
During storm conditions, everything that could possibly go wrong will go wrong. Pieces of machinery are not really made to take salt and do what these pieces of machinery really do on a storm condition basis. Joe is always in top form. He's always ready to go. He's always prepared and always proactive before a storm condition hits. But the guys are like clockwork. They know exactly what they do. They jump into their trucks and they load themselves up, and they have their own routes, and they handle it with skill. And skill is exactly what you need to handle these storms. But I can't tell you, I'm very proud of these guys for what they do. And I really don't even tell them what to do on a storm condition. They just know exactly what to do.
It's a great team. I mean, you
It really
have a
is.
great team.
And that's what prompted me to have this here today. Is because of them, not really because of me. Because really the village doesn't know what they do.
Right.
And this was a perfect opportunity to showcase their skills.
It was. So how about we just wrap it up? Let's go in and we'll go in the new building over here. But actually, let's take a look at what's this over here.
This is our storage tanks for our diesel and our gasoline.
Okay. So that's not only for DPW vehicles, but for police vehicles.
For the police
too,
department
right?
also, correct.
Okay. So they come in here, they fill up, and so they're in and out of here 7 days a week. Of course, police cars
Yes.
are here nonstop. So, okay. And then there's a generator right on the tail
Yes.
end of the building over here.
Which is fairly new. We've installed this, I think, 3 years now.
Okay.
And this will handle the whole facility.
So this generator, if power goes down in the village, this supplies power to the entire property here.
This entire property,
Oh,
correct.
that's great. That's wonderful.
It powers up our gas pumps. I mean, you can imagine what happens if we don't have, electrical powering our gas pumps or
Right.
the generators, or Joe is not able to use a lot of the equipment and machinery in the garage.
That's a very good point. I mean, we saw that with the hurricanes down south and
Right.
out west. They can't. There's gas tanks or there's service stations here, filling stations, but they can't pump the fuel out.
Right.
So that's something we can do here. That's
it.
excellent. All right, let's take a look. I'm kind of proud of this building myself because when I first got on the village board quite a few years ago, there was an old house that was here, and the office for the Department of Public Works was across the way here. And that old dilapidated house, we were able to knock it down and get this this brand new beautiful building. It's not brand new anymore, I guess,
it
but
isn't,
probably
it's kept well. It
yeah,
really is.
maybe 10 years old now, I guess. But
Yes.
it's I was so happy to be able to do that because the men needed a really good place. I came to understand how, especially during a snow event, the guys are living here. I mean, some of the guys who live maybe in Yorktown or halfway up or up county, they come down here during a snow event. They're kind of stuck down here. So, and you've got them working double shifts. So they had no place to really put a cot out or even take a shower.
Exactly.
I mean, so
They had nowhere to go. This is
nowhere
perfect
to go.
for them.
So let's take a look inside.
Okay.
Much better now. Should we look in the locker room area first?
Sure,
or?
absolutely.
Okay, all right. Anybody in the locker room here?
Nobody's in there.
Okay, Jakeem, thank you.
Not a problem, not a problem.
Let me just open the light.
All right.
All the lights will work off of sensors, so you need to walk or motion will set the lights off. So when no one's in here, it'll just automatically shut down on us.
So they have nice lockers. There's showers over here. They now have a good working environment in here, which is
Yeah.
good. They needed this. It's funny you take it for granted, but I can tell you it wasn't here not too long ago. So
There was nothing here.
yeah,
right.
so I'm
This
glad
is
that,
a big plus for them.
So we'll walk through here.
You can't have a family without a home. This is where they really get together and mingle as a family.
Yeah, that's true.
They do. They meet here.
So this room here, I know you have safety meetings in here.
This is where we have most of our meetings. Yes.
Okay. Now, do you have like weekly safety meetings? Tell us a little bit about, operationally what you're doing here on a weekly
We meet every
basis.
Thursday morning. And Thursday morning, we touch on some topics, definitely safety, what's going on in the village as far as construction and the development of the village, a lot of sustainable events, projects that we're working on, what issues anybody might have. It's really a time that we could get together and discuss as a family. When you sit down, I remember growing up,
Sure.
I've learned more sitting with my family at dinner time than I did, being out and about all day long. But that's our opportunity to express how we feel.
Good. And it's a nice space for it. They've got coffee here. They can, little microwave. So, good good place for them. Good place for them to relax.
It is.
Kind of, take a deep breath, and if there's an issue, they can talk to you about it. So that's excellent.
During storm conditions, you also mentioned that we do set up cots
Right.
here, so they don't have to worry about traveling back
Yeah.
home or keeping them safe here.
Yeah, which
They
is
could get some rest in between shifts.
very important.
Yeah.
I like this board that you have out here too, where they put their
Well, this is
handprints.
great. Yeah, this is great.
Yes.
This is something that we developed, and when the guys leave here in the morning, I want them to be able to look at this board, and this is our safety campaign. They have their loved ones giving us handprints under their names, just identifying that, Dad, we want you to come home at the end of the day.
Oh, that's wonderful.
This is a very dangerous job. People don't realize.
Yeah, that's true.
This is fourth on the list for the most dangerous positions in the world.
Mm-hmm. All right, so as we walk through here, good pictures of projects that you've
Some action
done. So, yeah, action photos. That's
What they're
good.
doing. When we used to cut our tree down at
Yeah, that
Christmas
was. I remember that day. That's for sure.
time and look it down Main Street or Columbus Avenue.
We do a lot of work here in DPW. I can say that when I first got on the board, there was an awful lot because we didn't have the talent that you have now. We didn't have the leadership and the talent, I'm going to say. And not to say that we didn't have good leadership before, we had different leadership. And, one of the things that I really liked about you when we actually took you on board was that you have construction background. And that, to me, was really, really important to be able to have somebody who understands the infrastructure of a municipality, but in addition to that, knows how to work with large groups of people, staff. And you had that when you had a business before you came to work for the village. So that to me was, crucial. And then, we pledged to you to make sure that we really hire the best talent that we can. And that's enabled us to get away from subcontracting out pretty much every service. And I can remember that we used to, pretty much anything we had to do, we had to call up an outside vendor and pay $4,000 for a storm drain. We were just constantly writing checks for outside contractors to do things. And over the period of the years that you've been here, we've been able to actually envelope all those services in-house. And that has saved the taxpayers a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah, correct. We also had a lot of talent here that they were never given the opportunity to express. That coupled with additional talent made us what we are today. We have a very unique department. These departments have typically been a maintenance department, pick up sanitation, maybe a little street cleaning, small repairs, but we've taken on major work. I can't remember the last time we subbed anything out.
Right.
We do electrical. We have an electrician on staff. We have a mason on staff, carpenter on staff, and amongst all the other unique skills that everyone else has here. But most importantly is that they're all working in unison together,
Right.
and cross skills and cross work is allowing everybody to really learn,
Right.
a lot more, and that's how we're getting a lot of these projects done.
Yeah. And it's saving the taxpayers an awful lot of money.
Hundreds
too.
of thousands
Yeah.
every year.
That's true. That's
Yeah, I
true.
truly believe that.
So we'll keep walking through here. So this space here, this is the front door of the building. So somebody comes in, the first person they see is Jimmy Gizzo. Jimmy's on vacation.
Jimmy's
so
on vacation,
Tell
that's
us a
why he's
little bit
not-
about Jimmy and his job and what he does.
Well, Jimmy's job is to actually handle the men and coordinate all the job functions and daily workload that we have every day. Answer phone calls, meet with residents, concerns.
He's our general foreman.
He's our general foreman, correct. And he's my buffer between the men and myself. He does quite a bit. He's got a big job on hand.
So he manages all that, and then we're going to move into the back office here, which is your office. So this is your office. You have a budget, obviously. So
Yes.
some people think, well, he's a DPW commissioner. Well, you know what? You're an accountant too, and you're accountable for your budget, which is a pretty good portion of the village's budget. And you do a fantastic job making sure you work with David Burke, of course, our village administrator, making sure that you're not overspending and that you're doing things the most cost-effective way as possible.
Right. Yeah, hold many hats here.
Yes.
But I love my job. I love interacting with people. I love doing what I do. I've done this for 25 years since I've started here, and I started here 10 years ago. But this is what I do. This is what I've done over the years, and this is all I know.
And there's books. I mean, the job seems to have gotten over the years a lot more intensive in terms of being accountable for, on a state level. There's a lot more requirements. There's a lot more filing requirements. So it's really not just let me come in and do the job and get out of here. There's a lot of paperwork involved.
A lot of paperwork. There's a lot of record keeping. There's a lot of filing.
Yep.
We do that. We do that on a daily basis and quite a bit. And more than they've done historically. I mean, historically, they would just go out, for example, and plow the roads. But now we're taking into account the materials that are being used, the trucks that are going out, the manpower, the man hours. Are the men resting? Are they not? So there's a lot of safety concerns that I need to take into consideration. And the records are more prominent today than they've ever been.
Yeah, that's true. This and every other department.
Every other department,
yeah,
right.
That's true.
Exactly.
Well, Frank, you know what? This was a great thing that you did today. It's something that you thought of, so I want to thank you for that. I think it's excellent that you've given all the residents an opportunity to see how this department really works. You're a visible department. They see the trucks moving around. They don't really know that, I wanted people to realize that you see the trucks rolling around where you're actually seeing the same truck or maybe two trucks constantly rolling around. It's not that there's 20 of these vehicles. So, I think it was great that the residents got a chance to see how all these different pieces of equipment work. They were able to see some of the very talented individuals that work for you. And I'm glad that I had the chance to spend the day with you.
It's really a pleasure. Thank you.
You're doing a great job. Thank you so much, Frank.
Same here. Same here. Just go for a ride. But we have a couple of initiatives we have here. We have two small initiatives. We have a retention center on the other side of the building that we collect rainwater. And what that rainwater does is save to irrigate all the plants along the property line here. So there's a savings there. And it's also a sustainable project that they took on here. And this is a rain garden, so all the roof water ends up in a rain garden, feeding all the native vegetation that is here. And we do a lot. There's a lot of projects that we take on. There's in the yard itself, there's what they call a stormwater separator, and what that does is that it collects any contaminants before it goes out into our waterway, and it really filters the water.
Just for the camera.
It'll take the metals out of the water. It'll take the oils out of the water. And all the water that gets collected on the street, goes to the catch basins. And the catch basins take the water where? Where does all the rainwater go? Tell me. Do you know? Well, close. We have two lines that run on our road. One is a sewer, right? And then when you flush your toilet, that's a sewer. And then you have rainwater. So when it rains, that travels into these catch basins, and that goes to the Bronx River or any close waterway that they have here. But this system that we have in place separates all the contaminants. It separates the metals, it separates all the oils, all the bad stuff that you really don't want to go into the waterway, right? You want to clean all that. So those are just some of the projects that we took on here in the villages. So we're just going to take a ride around and just talk about some of the things that we've done in the village, some of the projects that we took on, and most importantly, it's the projects that a lot of my men had completed on their own. This department is a little unique. We're not just a maintenance department, we're a constructive department. So we don't just pick up garbage, we don't just sweep the streets. We have electricians on staff, we have plumbers on staff, we have carpenters on staff, we have a mason on staff. So all that coupled with the talent that we've always had here, a lot of this work is getting done in-house, saving the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. The World War I monument, we're going to have seasonal planting here every year. We just planted about 600 tulips, so you'll see that in the spring, first time ever. And we just did this whole landscaping conceptual design probably 2 months ago. What they call a bioswale. And what a bioswale does, it takes natural rainwater and it feeds it into a native vegetated area that has plants, shrubs. So that's some of the ways that we're using rainwater. native vegetated area fed by rainwater to everybody's left. It looks like an abandoned site right now, but you know, during the spring when there's flowers blooming here, it looks really nice. This is our Marriott. So 80% of the village is all LED right now. And that was all done in-house by our team. So another 20% more will be completed. This is the second part of the quarry, the Tuckahoe quarry. So the high content of lime that's in this quarry, we were never able to grow anything, plants, flowers, nothing. So what the tree committee and the environmental committee came up with is that native vegetation would be the only thing that grows in the park. So their services, coupled with my men every year, we maintain this park, and it's filled with native vegetation right now. And native vegetation brings insects, brings birds, various birds, rare birds, bees to pollinate from the flowers. So it's really the only thing that could grow in this park, and it really took off. It's about 3-4 years now. You know, again, we're into the winter months, so nothing is really looking like it's blooming well, but during the spring months into the fall, this is really a beautiful sight. And this was all abandoned, so we ended up putting all the railings around, native vegetation. The quarry is down below, which is filled with water. And a project that we're going to be taking on next year is we're going to be taking the water out of the quarry to irrigate all the vegetation that's here. So we're taking the water out of the quarry, we're going to filter it and use it for the irrigation system. And again, 3 years ago, this was all abandoned. There was nothing that would grow there. You know, it looks like a simple parking lot, but it's not. It has a lot of sustainable initiatives built into it. This also has a stormwater separate, which separates the metals, the oils, and all the filters. It filters all the water before it goes out to the Bronx River, which is right on the other side of the Crestwood train station. You know, we have an electric vehicle charging station here also. But if you ever get a heavy rainy day, come by here because the water doesn't run off. Everything gets penetrated into the ground. This blacktop is pervious, and everything gets filtered into the ground. It won't run off into the catch basin. It's pretty amazing if you see it. Everything gets filtered into the ground through fabric, through natural filtration. That also goes through the stormwater separator, which is built into the parking lot, and it gets filtered multiple times before it goes out into our waterway. There's also a bioswale in the middle, which collects water, feeds all the native vegetation, and that gets filtered too before it goes out into our waterway. But if you ever happen to be walking by here in a heavy rain, it's pretty amazing that you won't see any water running off. It just penetrates right through the blacktop. One tree we take down, we like to plant another 3, just to keep up with our inventory. And you couldn't get through here? Yonkers Avenue, the left, we're going to be making a left soon. Well, the Army Corps of Engineers did all that work because the road was actually shifting into the waterway. The road was shifting into the river. So we had the Army Corps of Engineers stabilize the side of the riverbank for us. And then we did the actual restoration of the road. We being DPW, the men of DPW. We did the actual restoration of this road. We poured 10 inches of concrete below this blacktop. We stabilized all the handrail. All this concrete work for this guardrail was all done by us. The installation of the guardrail was done by us. The installation of all the electrical work for the street lights, underground electrical that was run, was all done by us. And a lot of other infrastructure work that was done here was done by DPW, the men of DPW. We poured 500 yards of concrete here underneath this road. If you want to see any of those pictures, we have them back in the garage. They're all displayed on the table of the men actually doing the work. It was pretty impressive. Anybody have any questions for me?
Well, as far as what I know about DPW is concerned, you know, I know they're a great
organization. They always do a great job. They've always responded to me whenever I've given a call to the town, whether it's, they didn't pick something up from my house. They usually come right back out. They're an amazing group of guys, and I see them doing a lot of great work. And, in terms of, getting the community to know more things about them, more days like this, and the community can come down and see what's going on here.
Well, we always see him around in the village. The kids see him in the morning when they pick up the garbage and cleaning the streets, and all the work that they're doing around the village, just helping to keep it clean and making sure it's looking good. So, we're always seeing them around and all the hard work that they do.
I know most about the DPW from the recycling calendar that they send out, so I know when to put out what I need to put out. And I also know that they do the snow removal and the leaf removal, which I think they do a fantastic job doing. And, providing a kid something to do today. I really appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I see DPW out on the streets of Tuckahoe all the time. My favorite thing is the decorations around Christmas time. I always see them watering the plants and taking care of the decorations, and I'm sure there's a ton of other stuff I don't know, but always appreciative for what they do for the town. They're pretty out there. I mean, I see them, I see their trucks, I see their work. Getting more awareness is hard because they're working night and day for things that we don't often think about, so that's a big challenge.
My name's Kevin, and this is Tommy, and I've lived in the town since 2003, and the Department of Public Works, the services here are great. So the leaves and the trash and the recycling, thrilled with it. We gotta talk into the microphone better, yeah? And I don't know, I guess that's all I really know that they do, but we are really thrilled with the services here. Yeah. These community outreach things are fun. So Tommy could go and go into the machines and honk the horns and see what the stuff is that goes by. That's pretty cool. But as far as anything else that could be done differently, no. The services are actually above and beyond. We're really happy with them. Even taking the trash from the house, outside the house, instead of having us having to take it out the day before is nice.